Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, episode 34 on Comic Frontline. So this is obviously the show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show. And this week I have 13 comics. 2 technically digital, which are indie, but technically 3. So 3 digital, and all the rest printed. So 13 comics, a little less than I usually get, but not a lot less. Usually I get like 14. But yeah, let's start with Worst Pick of the Week. Number 13 is Lazarus, issue 6, which the people who are reading Lazarus seem like they're hardcore fans for the series, or really enjoying the series, which yeah, I'm not a hardcore fan for it, but I am enjoying it enough to still be reading it and picking it up, and I think Forever is an interesting character. The world she lives in is interesting, because these families are the head of the sector, and they're like really the rulers, and they'll kill anyone that's in their sight. And Forever is the Lazarus, so she's not able to die. And is she really part of the family? Is she not? It's interesting to see that really power play, really. But this issue, I felt it was a little bit on the boring side, because we do get to see these characters we don't know. I think they were introduced in the last issue. They seem like they could be rebels, but I don't think they gave enough character development with this issue, which I think they could have, to make us really interested. So we get to see them. They might be rebels. We don't know. Lazarus seems like she's interested in what they're doing, so I could see them being main characters and being Lazarus rebelling to her family. But I don't know. And Lazarus didn't really have much to do here. We still see that she's an outsider to her family. But yeah, this was a little bit boring on my part. It wasn't horrible. There wasn't really any horrible books this week. But the art's still a little bit too dark for me. And I thought this wasn't really a progressing issue. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. Not a bad issue, but of course it's just the worst issue I read this week. But it doesn't mean that it was really that bad. Alright, so the number 12 is The Vampire Diaries, issue 2. Yeah, surprising that this is so low on my list, because I really do love the show. But this is an issue where I feel you don't have to read if you've seen the show. And I say that because this is pretty much repeating what the show's about. It's a little bit of prelude, but it's Stefan coming back. He's still feeding on rabbits, because we all know Stefan is the Ripper. So, we all know he's the Ripper. So, we get to see a little bit of that. Elena still has her parents alive. She's all happy. He's like, oh my god, Mystic Falls is awesome. So that's happening there. And yes, nothing really progresses. We know Damon and Stefan's on the outs. But yeah, this feels like a really good setup for a show that might not happen yet. But this happened 5 years ago. We know what's going on with Vampire Diaries. And the art's okay. Sometimes I can't really tell. Oh, that looks like Stefan a little. So the art's okay. It's a little bit on the darker side, which I understand. The Alaric story was interesting. Again, a second part with Alaric. Where we see him training to become a vampire hunter, then get the call to be a teacher at Mystic Falls High. So I like that, but I never really liked Season 1 that much. I was a bigger fan of Season 2, Season 3, really Season 2 and Season 3, and then Season 4 was good, and then Season 5 didn't. So yeah, I'm a bigger fan of Season 2 and Season 3, because there's better things going on. With Season 1's, it's a setup. It's a setup story. You're starting to get into the series. So Season 1, not a big fan of, and it seems like they're going to be staying here with the series, which I'm a little scared for. We've seen the stuff that happened there. I want to be in current time, or get us some interesting side stories and tie-ins, which is a difficult part of these TV things, and TV tie-ins, because where do you write? What can you write? What do you have room for? So it is harder that way. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. It was okay. I'm leaning more towards don't pick it up if you've seen the show, but if you've been reading the comic and enjoying it and haven't seen the show, I would recommend it, because it is a good continuation. But yeah, obviously most people that watch the show are probably picking that up anyways. So we are up to number 11, I think, now, which is another digital comic, and that is Sidekick, issue 5. Yeah, this issue was pretty good. Again, there was nothing that horrible this week. It was good, but I still don't know if I'm so totally attached to this series, because when I'm reading it, I'm like, I like it, but there's not a lot, like, really surprising things happening with the series. With the first issue, I feel like it might have been close to my pick of the week, or pick of the week when it came out. Because it was so shocking. It's like, the sidekick is a nobody. The hero, Red Cowl, he killed himself, but not actually killing himself. But then ever since then, there really hasn't been a progression in that. And yeah, now Flyboy's trying to starting to learn that Red Cow might have lied to him, but we don't see him face to face or anything like that. So I thought this was more of a needed issue, but nothing that interesting going on. And I still wonder what happened to that girl in the first issue. I felt like she was like the Lois Lane type character who I think was the girlfriend of Red Cow, but I have not seen her since issue 1. I keep wondering what happened to that girl. I thought she was going to be like a main character. So I still think that's a little weird. But yeah, this issue is okay. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. It wasn't bad. I got to see where the series is going. I think it needs a little bit more shock value to the series. Alright, now we're up to Wolverine. Well, now we're up to number 10, which I just spoiled, which is Wolverine, issue 1. Really surprised I didn't see this as my worst pick of the week, because I wasn't expecting Wolverine to be that good. Was it brilliant? No, it wasn't that great, but it's good enough to pick up, I think. There's some interesting story here. I think the present time story they're trying to tell is not that interesting. He's teaming up with these nobodies. Why is he teaming up with these people? I don't know. We have a team up story. We have a team up series for him. We don't need a team up for this series. This should be where he's alone or he's interacting with Storm or something. Like, I can understand that, but not having a whole other team working with him. I don't think that's smart to really start this Wolverine series off. That's my opinion. But he's looking for Sabretooth. We see the aftermath of him not having his powers, which he hasn't had his powers in months now, so I don't know why we need more aftermath of that. We've seen the aftermath in other series with it. He's getting his armor, which was cool. But what I actually liked about the issue was that the little moments here, that he talks to Storm, you know, Storm trying to be protective of him, like get armor suit, and then Wolverine's trying to ignore it and says, you know, what's going on with Kitty? I don't know, you know, maybe you should talk to her. So he's trying to ignore it, and I like that they mentioned Kitty and the whole situation with the all-new X-Men. So I like that was referenced. And then I like the Black Widow part, actually, where she teaches Wolverine to use a gun. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So those little moments of the past were actually interesting that intrigued me. It was a big part of this issue. That's why it is a little higher on my list. But I'll give it 3.5. I think I could give this a little bit more of a chance. I don't know how long I'll have the series for, but it was an okay issue. I was surprised that I semi-liked it. So I'm going to give that a 3.5, and that was number 10. Alright, number 9 is a Comic Frontline exclusive, which is Trillium, issue 6. Yeah, this issue was okay. I think this was another kind of not progressing issue where we get to see Nika, she's still going crazy, William, he's still going crazy, but they know they're not crazy. So somehow they get themselves back to the temple, but the temple's destroyed. And that's what happens in this issue. It's a little sad that we're almost to the end and kind of the same thing's going on. They're really not even talking to each other. I thought we would have a big adventure by now where they're trying to get the temple, trying to be with each other, which they kind of are, but again, it's just kind of the same thing over and over again, just in a different way. But I like the flip book thing still. I love when I'm reading backwards and people are probably thinking, why the hell is this girl reading backwards? It's the book, it really is. I wish they could at least show, hey, this is a flip book, but I do like that aspect of the book, even though it gets a little confusing towards the end where every panel you have to flip it. But that's what really intrigued me about the book in the first place. But yeah, this is a little bit of a weaker issue. I gotta give it a 3.5. It was still a good issue. If you've been reading it, get this issue. It's only an 8-issue series, so I recommend it. It just was a little bit of a lackluster issue because not much is going on. But the temple's destroyed, so we'll have to see what's going on there. Alright, I think we're up to number 8 now. Yes, we are up to number 8, which is 2 books. Green Lantern, Red Lanterns. Yeah, it's 2 books because it's a flip side book. It's only $2.99. This is why I'm giving it 4 stars. I was originally going to give it 3.5 for the story-wise, but this issue, I mean, you're getting a good price for 2 literally issues in 1 book. It's not even cut either. It's not like 15 issues, 15 pages, 50 pages. It's a full issue for each of them, and it does connect very well. So I like this was cheap. That's kind of what I liked about this issue. But let's talk about Green Lantern first. Green Lantern was probably the weakest part about this book because until Supergirl comes, and I'm going to say Supergirl, we don't know how she got the red ring, you know, the Red Lantern ring. That kind of annoyed me in this issue, but it seems like in issues to come we will find out how she got it. But yeah, we get to see, they're really talking about nothing in this issue. They're just like, yeah, let's have an oath. Another oath. We did this oath? We'll do another one. Alright, so they do another oath. And they're like, oh, Supergirl, we should do something about that. Let's go to Guy. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go to Guy. So again, they have nothing, they don't have an idea what they're doing, but when Supergirl comes, at least something's happening in Green Lantern. And then we get the cool story with the Red Lanterns, because I think that is the strongest book, and it still feels like the strongest book. It is a continuation of what happened with issue 27, where Ice actually says, yeah, I know you try to control yourself, where he does control himself, Guy, but I can't be with you. So Guy gets upset, goes back to his planet, finds Hal, and he's already upset that Ice kind of said, no, we're not having this relationship. But Hal has a reason why he's there. Guy simmers down. He's like, okay, we'll try to figure out the whole Supergirl thing. And Supergirl actually does reveal her identity, which they didn't even know who she was. They knew she was Kryptonian, but who is she? Which is necessary because New 52, not everyone knows who everyone is. So we find out that he's like, ooh, they're related to Superman, so what are we going to do here? So I guess Guy's going to team up with Superman somehow here and talk about, you know, what's going on with Supergirl. I still want to find out how she got this ring. I didn't think she was that angry of a person to get the ring, but maybe I'm missing something. I haven't read Supergirl in like a year, so maybe I'm missing something, but I didn't think she was that angry of a person to get the Red Lantern ring and able to control it. But yeah, she gets the ring, and Guy and Hal actually have a moment, and, you know, Guy's able to have the Sector 2814, and Hal's like, alright, but keep Baz as, like, an ambassador or something, because I do want him on Earth, and he's like, okay, we could do that. So it seems like they're kind of buddy-buddy, which is kind of weird to see with the Red Lanterns and Green Lanterns. Atrocitus also shows up in this issue, so we get a little dazzle of him. So I think the Red Lanterns really saved this issue. The Supergirl was interesting, but Green Lanterns, they still don't know what they're doing. They're still just doing their oath again. I feel like every issue starts the same way. They say their oath. They figure out, like, what are we going to do? The Green Lanterns are not in a good place right now, and then they fight some random person, and they go back. And the same thing over and over again. Just don't know. But this issue was actually pretty good because Red Lanterns was in it too. So I'm going to give it 4 stars. Definitely worth the price. Story-wise, this should be a 3.5, but this is worth the price. I'm giving this 4 stars. Even if you don't like Red Lanterns or Green Lantern, buy it. It's like, this is a deal. Buy this issue. So I give that 4 stars, and that was number 8. So now we're up to number 7, which is technically a digital comic, so I wasn't able to get out of my shop, and that's Green Arrow, issue 28. I'm going to get you guys the cover for that. Here's the cover. And you're going to see after this, there is a lot of solid issues this week, so a lot of issues made it to 4 stars. I thought there was just a lot of things that were pretty solid. You know, I enjoyed it. Nothing that blew my mind, but I enjoyed it, but nothing that really was that bad either. So, a lot of things were 4 stars. Green Arrow was a 4-star book. I enjoyed it. There's a lot of good things going on here. A lot of things that remind me of Arrow. I still think the show Arrow is kind of better than the Green Arrow comic. When I'm reading it, like New 52, Green Arrow, I feel like is so different. You can't compare it to Arrow. But with New 52, it's so similar, you have to compare it to Arrow, and Arrow still has the better story right now. But of course, it had more time to develop also. But with Green Arrow, this issue had some cool elements. We have the father who actually forced Oliver to be on the island, and Oliver's upset because Shadow and his father betrayed him, and he's like, what? I was on this island, I thought I was stuck here, and you made me actually here, and Shadow, you tricked me to bring me here when my father was still alive, you never told me, so he's pissed off. And then we have the other Arrow clan, Komodo and Oliver's half-sister, planning to try to be the leaders now, and try to be the heads, and that girl, she's freaky. She's happy that there's death, and she's like, yeah, Dad, kill them, and she's smiling. Yeah, she was a little weird in this issue, but in a good way, because it's interesting. So yeah, we got a lot of interesting elements here. The art was good, but there's some scenes where I felt like it was a little bit too stylish. They couldn't really enjoy the fight and even know who they were fighting. An example of that, I'm going to get to that page, which I actually show in my in-depth review also. This is a page, it just looks, I'd rather had a regular fight than that, bam, boom, like, who are they fighting? I couldn't tell. Because we didn't even see the person, we just saw a and then we see the person here. So yeah, I thought that fight was a little weird. Art's still good. I'm getting used to it. Even though at first I'm like, is this really Green Arrow art? But yeah, I'm getting used to it. And I do like the stylized parts at certain moments. I just didn't think it fit there. But yeah, very solid issue. I'm going to give that 4 stars. I've been liking how much that series has improved, though, of Green Arrow. Because it's now readable. Before, it was not even readable, that series. Alright, number 6 is Forever Evil, issue 5. Yeah, this is another solid issue, 4 stars. I like this issue, but it's also a little bit of a filler issue, because we do get some things happening, like Deathstroke ends up joining the team. Power Ring loses his ring because he loses his arm, Sinestro cuts it off. But it's mostly fighting. It's mostly fighting the minions of the Secret Society and our Forever Evil team. So there's not a lot going on, and I do think that's bad because we're almost done with this series, you know. After this we have 2 more issues and that's it. So I want to, you know, let's wrap that up. We didn't need this filler issue. Then you could have made a 6-issue miniseries instead, because not a lot gets progressed. Again, only Deathstroke joins the team. That could happen any other way. So, and that could have happened like Justice League tie-in. Didn't have to happen here. So I'm going to give it 4 stars. It's still a very solid issue because there's some really fun moments here, but it's definitely not an amazing issue. I think it's definitely filler. So yeah, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Still a good issue, and I want to see who gets the ring in the end. That's going to be interesting. Maybe that's where the Girl Lantern comes from. That was not spoiled, but teased after the Green Lantern. The end of the Green Lantern run for Jeff Johns. That's something interesting. I just thought about that now, so that's interesting. All right, now we're up to top 5. Yes, so number 5 is Black Widow, issue 3. Really entertaining issue. Again, a solid issue, 4, but I thought they kind of fixed things up that I thought was wrong with issue 1 and 2. Still, the art's a little meshing together, but I'm getting used to with the series. But we have good narration, which I'm really enjoying with the series. It's a quick read, which I like, with all these other bigger dialogue stories that, like, Forever Evil had a little bit more bigger dialogue, and this is a lighter book. It's really a quick read, which is good at times, but not too quick where like, oh, I'm done. But yeah, this is like a simple series to read. So you get to see a mission in this issue, which was interesting. It actually shows a mission, like the other 2 weren't really showing it. It wasn't concentrating on the mission, concentrating more on the narration. Here they did a good mix of narration and the mission. You're intrigued. You're like, oh, is he lying about being an inmate and not doing anything wrong? What has he done wrong? Do we trust him? And will Black Widow kill this guy if he did do something wrong? So it's interesting to see her conscience and how it works also. And she also tries to describe what is her home, and she tries to discover that in this issue. So it's interesting to see that she's trying to stay away from a normal life, but she's inching herself there also. And that's been like the first issue. She's trying to inch herself to a normal life, but she's trying to stay away from it. So yeah, very solid issue, and I'm looking forward to seeing this be once a month, but looking forward to see where the series goes. I think it is interesting, but hopefully it does get a story arc. I think it does need that. Alright, so we're up to number 4, which is Batman Detective Comics, issue 28. I also gave this 4 stars. I promise this is the last 4-star book because I really like this. I thought it was a very solid issue, very, very solid issue. Because we do, one thing I just want to say, I've really been enjoying Gotopia. I didn't love the tie-ins because I think it ruined the flow of a lot of series and it wasn't necessary, and making Gotopia a little longer than it had to be. But I like that this is a 3-part fun story. And it's something different that we haven't seen. You know, Batman being lighter and happier, we haven't seen that. And him discovering, like, oh, this is not real. And it's fun that he's teaming up with Poison Ivy, because Poison Ivy can't be affected from, you know, Scarecrow's little thing going on with Gotopia, because she has the powers not to be affected. So, and also in Arkham Asylum, usually, you know, the police, yeah, the police are usually in Arkham Asylum. They're taking care of that. But now it's the reverse. We got Batman as the inmate, and Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, Professor Pig. They're the ones controlling Arkham Asylum. So I thought that was an interesting twist, and that's something I like about Gotopia, is these interesting twists and what I'm staying for, honestly, because it's like, oh wait, Arkham Asylum's controlled by the villains. That makes sense. Catwoman's Robin. That makes sense. So it's like an interesting little twist there that do make sense, and it's only only a 3-part story arc, and I think that makes sense also. I like that it's bright. The art's great. I gotta give it 4 stars. Really solid issue. Glad I've been picking this up. Really enjoyed this one. Alright, number 3 is Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue 8. Such a fun issue. And at first I'm like, I don't know where it's going, because the beginning of the issue, these people are trying to find the guy's head, Silvio's head. They've been trying to find that head for a couple issues now. So they're trying to find the head. In the end, they find a picture instead of Dr. Doom, which was worth a lot of money. And of course, Boomerang's upset about this because that was his biggest heist yet. And his team's upset because they were stranded by him. But Tombstone comes and says, alright, honey, you're gonna have dinner with me, right? And she's like, yes. And everyone's making fun of her that Tombstone is her father, but also scared because, like, Tombstone's your father. I don't want him to hurt us or anything. So it's interesting to see that dynamic. And I really hope Beetle ends up becoming the leader, because I think she's the better leader than Boomerang. So I like that, continuing that story with Tombstone, which was one of my favorite issues of this series. But another interesting element is that we get to see Boomerang actually tell his girlfriend that he's a supervillain, and the girlfriend's okay with it. So, you know, if you're going to be a supervillain, you should be the best supervillain you should be. And I actually like the girlfriend. I think she's interesting for Boomerang, even though she seems like a nice person. She seems like someone that could be a girlfriend for a superhero, but she's a girlfriend for a supervillain. She's okay with that. It's a very interesting dialogue we have here. Funny points. One of the funniest things that made me laugh out loud is we have Boomerang's dream going on, and everything's happening. He's getting buried treasure. He has his girlfriend there who has Galactus ears. So many random things happen. But this is one thing that made me laugh so loud. We got, yeah, I'm dreaming, right? Because while I was down there talking to him, I was like, I didn't think Flounder from Little Mermaid was a real fish. Well, great. I guess you were right about the pirate thing, then pretty worthless. Sorry. And then he's like, thanks, Obama. So that's something you'll see, like, on Twitter or whatever. And then we have Obama actually there saying, you're welcome. And I thought that was hilarious, because that's just the expression saying, oh, thanks, Obama. I thought that was hilarious. I don't know why that made me crack up so much, but that's one thing I love about this series. You really do crack up with the series. Have an interesting story too, and that's what I liked about this issue. It's interesting towards the end where the girlfriend finds out. We have all the heroes doing something. Also, Shocker feeding the head pizza. It's a good issue. I liked it. Love the art for this series, and it's just a fun ride. So I gotta give it 4.5 stars. Really liked it. 4.5. Alright, we're up to number 2, which is Earth 2, issue 20. Yeah, Earth 2 was actually my pick of the week last week with the Earth 2 annual, and Earth 2 issue 20 was great also. Why it wasn't my pick of the week actually was because there wasn't a lot going on to progress the story, and that's been my complaint with Earth 2 issue 20. There's a lot of dark side story, but not a lot of progression with that. But there's a lot of great character moments, which made this my second pick of the week. Number 2 on my list, because we get to see, yeah, the continuation of, you know, people finding out that Batman's Thomas Wayne, but it's more of, you know, people trying to figure out how do we defeat Darkseid. And we have little moments like Aquawoman using the clouds to get water. I thought that was a really cool action scene, but the best scene had to be where Lois talks to the Kryptonian who's been trapped in a cell, and he's actually afraid of big spaces because of it. He's hyperventilating, and Lois describes who Clark was, and because the boy's like, I don't want this power, I don't want to become like Darkseid. He's like, you wouldn't become like Darkseid. My husband was not Darkseid. This is not the same person. And then the Kryptonian actually embraces the light, and he's gonna help them. It actually lasted a lot of this issue, this Lois and Kryptonian scene, but I loved it. I thought it was great, and the character moments here were really amazing. And Lois describing how it feels to be in a robotic body. You know, one day she was alive and one day she was dead. She really describes that there, because we haven't seen that point of view yet. So yeah, I gotta give this 4.5 stars. A really good issue, a lot of great character moments, and I love where this series is going. So yeah, that's definitely number 2. But what was number 1? Gotta get a sip of water for suspense. And because I'm thirsty. And let's do number 1, which is Miss Marvel, issue 1. I was actually really anticipating this issue. There's a lot of people that were iffy on the issue, where it's going to be, oh, it's just going to be some press thing, it's, you know, it's not going to be a good issue. And honestly, this was a really good issue. I really like going into another culture, the Pakistan culture, and really seeing the inside of that, a modern look of it. It really reminded me of Bend It Like Beckham, actually. It reminded me of that tone of the series. And I think you really enjoy these characters from page 1. You enjoy Miss Marvel's character, where she wants to be American, kind of. She just wants to be this blonde, popular girl, and that's all she wanted. And when she has an opportunity to, she freaks out, because she goes to this party, and she wants to be, she doesn't want to be popular, but yeah, she does want to be popular. So she sneaks out, she goes to this party, and she drinks some alcohol. She's like, no, I can't have alcohol. So she runs off, and there's this big smoke, and in a really creative way, they do the Inhumanity thing. She goes in the little shell, which we know she's Inhuman, and she shapeshifts into Miss Marvel, because she's a humongous Avengers fan. Again, she looks up to Miss Marvel, because that's who she wants to be. And then we get to see her as Ms. Marvel, and she's like, whoa, what's going on here? So I love that. You know, I thought it was structured so well, because I read a lot of Inhumanity issues already, and every single time is the same thing of how they got out of the shell, how they felt, and I thought that was just a really creative way of really feeling how this girl felt of turning it Inhuman. And it was really funny. It's like, is this how it feels drunk? And she falls down. So I really like that. I like that they show the culture very well, and how people react to the culture, and I'm really looking forward to that. I really enjoyed this issue. I couldn't give it 5 stars, because I don't think anything amazed me in this issue, but I still enjoyed this issue a lot, and I think their issues to come will amaze me, because I like the character, and again, from page 1, you enjoy the character, you feel for the character, and really all the characters. There's a good supporting cast here also. I just thought it was just a very well crafted issue, a very well structured issue for issue 1. So I'm going to give this 4.5, my pick of the week. Really good issue. Looking forward to see where this series goes. I can really see the series go in a great place. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please tell me in the comments below what was your pick of the week, what was your worst pick of the week, and everything in between. Please tell me what you guys thought. This is Comic Uno, and guys, of course I'll have Comic Uno episode 35 next week. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno and Comic Frontline, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.